Okay, so today we're doing a deep dive into a really urgent message. It's from Ruby Amatulla, the political analyst and global justice advocate.
That's right. She's got these incredibly strong statements like, wake up America.
And the kicker, only you can change 2026. Really puts the onus out there.
Absolutely. There's this real sense of urgency, isn't there? Our goal today really is to unpack why she feels America is in such a, well, a dire situation, a crisis, as she puts it.
Exactly, and explore her plea, specifically aimed at young Americans, rise up, reclaim democracy, rescue America and the world.
It's a huge call to action. She seems convinced that youth activism, political participation, that's the only path forward.
So we're going to dig into what she actually means by that, what it entails according to her analysis. Let's get into it.
Okay. So her starting point, the foundation for everything else, is this idea that American democracy is, well, she says, dysfunctional at best.
That's putting it mildly based on her full quote. She adds, according to many, already an authoritarian system behind the facade of a democratic structure. That's quite a statement.
It really is.
Yeah.
And she pins the blame, if you will, on what she consistently calls predatory elites and predatory forces.
Does she name names or groups?
Oh, yes. She's quite specific. She mentions billionaires, Zionist elites, and defense contractors. She argues these groups are essentially in control, dictating policy both at home and abroad.
Okay, so how does she say this control actually shows up? What are the symptoms she points to?
Well, the first big one she tackles is extreme inequality in the United States.
Right, the economic gap.
Exactly. She sees this as clear proof that democracy, for many people, has not worked for some time.
And she believes this inequality is at a peak level.
That's her claim. Never been so extreme, she says. And she references some well-known economists to back this up. Thomas Piketty.
Ah, capital in the 21st century.
Right, that one. And also Joseph Stiglitz, Jeffrey Sachs, Paul Krugman. She asserts they all agree that the American public doesn't grasp the true extent of wealth concentration.
So her narrative is that these elites have, siphoned the wealth.
Siphoned wealth from the masses is her phrase. Into the hands of, a small group, billionaires, wealthy elites, military elites.
And she talks about record billionaires having control.
Yes, controlling the economy and politics. And she draws a direct line from that to policy decisions. The big example she uses is defense spending.
The budget, yeah. What's your figure on that?
She states it's more than the next 14 countries combined. A staggering amount.
And her argument is that this money is essentially stolen.
Robbing money from the taxpayers is how she puts it. Money that, in her view, should be going to social services, healthcare, education, poverty alleviation.
And this ties into her view of politicians, too.
Directly. She critiques elected officials, most congressmen, senators, saying they're driven by a greedy hunger for power to stay in power.
And that they take money from these groups she mentioned.
Correct. Accepting money from Zionists, from Wall Street, and defense contractors, she alleges, to obey whatever they are dictating.
Which leads to
what she calls repugnant policies at home and abroad. It's a pretty damning assessment of the domestic situation.
Okay, so from that internal critique, she then broadens the scope, right, to the global stage.
Yes, she transitions to foreign policy, which she describes as disgraceful and dark.
A betrayal of founding principles, she suggests.
Exactly, a stark contrast in her view. And she uses Gaza as her prime example here.
What does she say about Gaza specifically?
She calls it a glaring example of moral failure of Washington. Very strong words.
She mean complicity.
She goes further. She says the U.S. government is not complicit in this crime, but a partner and enabler of this crime.
Wow. And how does she support that claim?
Her argument is that Israel could not perpetrate genocide in Gaza, her words, or do what it's done there for, she says, the last coming 2 months, without massive U.S. military aid and political backing, particularly at the UN. She calls it blind support.
She also has that quote about Netanyahu.
Yes, she refers to a criminal like Netanyahu comes to White House, clearly meaning Netanyahu, and talks to U.S. president that never happened, I think, in human history. It shows her level of outrage.
And then she connects this back to the idea of elites.
Right. She talks about transnational elites becoming enormously powerful to the point of almost invincibility.
And within that group, she singles out one again.
Yes. She claims that among the elites, predatory elites, the most powerful elites are the Zionist elites in the West.
And her theory is that they collude.
That's her assertion. Colluding with other elites for mutual interest, aiming to consolidate their collective power and exert a stranglehold on governments.
leading to policies she dislikes from Western capitals.
Precisely. Repugnant policies from Washington, from London, from Paris, from Berlin, she says. Policies that have made them partners to genocide, partners to ethnic cleansing and causing unnecessary wars.
Does she offer other specific country examples?
She contrasts Iran with Israel. She states, Iran has never been a threat to the United States, hasn't occupied other countries, doesn't have nuclear weapons yet.
Whereas Israel, she says,
Has many nuclear weapons, according to her statement. It's a comparison she uses to question threat narratives.
It's quite a critical view of Western foreign policy. Does she mention any dissent or counter voices?
Yes, she does. She references eyewitness doctors, United Nations workers, and even American military army officers providing descriptions of injustice and inhumanity in Gaza.
And internal criticism within Israel or the Jewish community.
She explicitly mentions that many Israelis and Jewish organizations are critical. She names Gideon Levy, the journalist.
From Haaretz, yeah.
Ilan Pappé, the historian, B'Tselem, the human rights group, and Physicians for Human Rights in Israel. She says they're vehemently criticizing the Netanyahu government.
Okay, so she paints this picture, both domestic and international, that she sees as a deep crisis. What's the way out, according to Amatulla?
Well, this is where her core message really comes into focus. The responsibility, she argues, lands squarely on the young generation Americans.
It's up to them to rescue America, reclaim it.
Exactly, to take the reign from these degraded, disgraceful, self-entered, and predatory forces, as she puts it. It's a heavy burden she places on them.
Does she frame this in a historical context, like looking back?
Yes, she does. She reminds listeners of America's founding principles. All people are created equal, endowed with inalienable rights. The whole reason for the Revolutionary War, she says, was to establish democracy, human rights, social justice.
And she contrasts that ideal with the present situation she described earlier.
Precisely. And that she also points to the post-World War II era. America leading the creation of the UN Charter, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights.
She mentions specific leaders.
Wilson, FDR, Kennedy. She credits them with realizing the need for a win-win approach in an interconnected world. This vision, she argues, led to a new norm that prevented major wars for decades.
So America as a natural leader, a guiding light.
That's the historical image she evokes, a nation whose moral values inspired others fighting colonialism. It's a powerful contrast to her current assessment.
So if things are so bad now and elites are so powerful, what's the mechanism for change?
Her answer is unwavering. People's collective power. That's the only countervailing power, she believes.
And the American people's will is key.
The most important collective will comes from the will of the American people, she states. And she offers historical proof points, in her view.
Like what?
She argues that American collective will helped end colonial rule globally and stop the world wars started in Europe.
And more recently,
the Vietnam War. She says the American people learned their government, bluffed them, and misled them.
Change, make a U-turn.
Exactly. She also points to the policy shifts towards China in the 70s and détente in '89 as a result of this will, leading to globalization that she initially credits with lifting billions from poverty.
But she has a caveat there.
Yes. She adds that this process has now been robbed by the elites, transnational elites.
Okay, so bringing it all together, what is her concrete call to action for young people now, for 2026?
It's very direct. She urges the younger generation Americans, the dedicated people, the educated, bright, and the best, to step up and participate.
Participate how? Just voting?
More than that.
Yeah.
Participate in the 2026 midterm elections, yes, but also subsequent elections. Run for office, essentially.
Take charge of Washington.
That's the goal she sets out. Be the decision maker, be the policy makers, occupy White House, even help shape a better Supreme Court, and ultimately reclaim their democracy.
And the potential outcome, in her view.
If American democracy is reclaimed, she's optimistic that good leaders will come, and this will fundamentally change American policy, which in turn will change the whole world.
Does she see signs of this happening already?
She mentions the worldwide protest that is going on as a sign of momentum, suggesting this collective energy is building.
And her final thought really sums up her worldview, doesn't it?
Yes, that closing statement is powerful. Quote, "Without justice, peace never can be sustained." She links peace, stability, prosperity, a good future. It all hinges on establishing peace and justice today, she argues, for the sake of future generations.
Right. So that really wraps up our exploration of Ruby Amatulla's message. It's undeniably a stark assessment of where she believes America stands.
Absolutely, both at home and globally, and this very strong conviction that it's the collective action of young Americans that holds the key.
Which leads to a question for you, listening. Given Amatulla's argument that people's collective will is the only real counterforce to these powerful elites she describes, what does active participation in reclaiming democracy truly look like for you today?
Yeah, it's a big question. And maybe one final thought to leave you with. If these power structures Amatulla outlines are as entrenched as she suggests, how can individual actions realistically build up into that kind of powerful collective will needed to actually shift policy, especially thinking ahead to 2026 and beyond?
Something to definitely think about.